Hey, I'm Colonel Garuda, and today we're going to take a look at the Master Universe Origin Snake Mountain. This is something I've been highly anticipating for a very long time, ever since this toy was revealed back in 2020. I just knew they'd eventually do a Snake Mountain, and I just cannot wait, because the original Snake Mountain was very atmospheric and creepy, but it was a heavily flawed place, and supposedly this new version improves upon some of the problems that the original had. Now, starting things off with the packaging, you got this awesome, amazing artwork of the characters duking it out on Snake Mountain. Got new for 2023, ages 6 and up. And it's got all kinds of crazy stuff going on here. The top of the packaging showcases all the different play features that this playset has to offer. On this side, we got the Talon Fighter and some creepy ghosts. I'm not sure what those are, but it looks pretty interesting. Not much going on the other side, though. And then at the back of the packaging, you got this beautiful diorama of the playset with a bunch of figures scattered around it, with some other stuff in here. And there's just so much going on, just so overwhelming and awesome. It looks like something straight out of an old Sears catalog from the 80s or something. And then, as you can see in the corner, you got how the playset looks on the interior. Just get the camera to focus a little bit. There you go. And that's basically it for the packaging, so let's open this thing up and see how awesome it truly is. And here we have Snake Mountain out of the packaging, and this playset is massive and really, really impressive. This playset takes so much space I could not even fit on the review table, and it is really, really awesome. Let's take our virtual hike around the mountain. Starting things off at the very bottom, we got some climbable platforms we can take a figure to climb on. However, it's so narrow that a figure can't really stand on here, and this area where you hold figures and restrain them kind of gets in the way. However, once you get up here, you can actually have figures stand here with some foot pegs, and there are a lot of foot pegs throughout the mountain, which is really nice. See if I can get the figure to just stand here, and here's how He-Man looks just here, but kind of looks a little awkward. The chains here, and you got this big monster head here, and that can actually talk, but there's no electronics on this playset, which the original had with the microphone feature, which we'll get to a little bit to see what they did instead, which is kind of neat in its own way. But there's that. And here's the area where you can restrain figures. Now, the original Snake Mountain playset was infamous with these chains for breaking very easily. So what they did was make this a soft, rubbery, flexible material. And these figures are designed to come apart. So what the instructions tell you to do is take off the hands, and then after you take off the hands, you can slide the chains on, and then you stick the hands back on. And yes, you can still slide these chains on while the hands are still attached, but if you want to preserve this playset for a longer period of time, I guess this is the best way to do it. And you can have He-Man in chains like this, or have anyone in chains, mind you. It can be a little bit tricky though, a little awkward, a little fiddly, and I don't know how a child would enjoy doing this. I think most kids would just want to just slide them in and out. But again, if you want to preserve this toy, the best thing to do is to do it like this. But it can be a little awkward, a little fiddly, but this is definitely the best way to do it. I kind of wish they went with Super 7's classic Snake Mountain, where you can kind of like open and close the chains. I think that'd be a little bit easier and not as awkward to kind of handle around. But once you get that all figured out, there you go, you got He-Man in chains. And that looks really cool. Next up is this little bridge, and there's a decent amount of peg holes on it. Unfortunately, when you place a figure on here, you can't really have them stand straight. However, thanks to the articulation of these modern figures, you can bend the waist, and that way you can have two figures stand there. And here's how the bridge looks with two figures. It got Battle Armor Skeletor facing He-Man, and he looks quite happy to see him. Once we get past the bridge, we got these little stairs, which are really, really tight and narrow, but there are foot pegs to fit figures on this. We got He-Man up there. And then once you get to the very top, we got this gate with a wolf's head, so let's get He-Man up there. And there's a foot peg to keep him there in place, but it's kind of hard to do with just one hand sometimes. But once you get up there, this snake statue isn't just for display. It's a little bit posable, but I wish it had a little bit more posability. It can swivel here, and it can also have a little bit of a ball joint here, and the mouth can't open, so it can theoretically eat someone standing here, but it can never seem to reach anyone that's like placed here. even when I have He-Man at this corner, I can barely have the snake strike He-Man, and it's really underwhelming. Oh, and just when I say that, I kind of got the snake to get him. Oh, and there you go. Now I got the snake to get He-Man, but even then, you have to be at a very specific corner for the snake to actually work and get a figure. Before I move on inside the mountain, here is the main entrance and some detail up top. Looks very nice. Now let's go inside. As we open up the gate and have He-Man come inside, as you can see, there's a little trap door there. And once you activate the trap, he falls into this little cage. And this is where the original playset was so lackluster because it was so empty inside. Besides a little net, there was nothing going on. Here, they improved everything so much. And we're going to go into all the little details, little by little. The cage can easily be removed and can be put right here underneath this wooden area. So let's just drop it in right underneath here. You have that little option to store the cage in there, and you get this wooden ladder which you can put here, and then up here is Skeletor's little throne. So if we take Skeletor, we can just plop him on there, and he's all happy, just chilling, just to sit there, and he's all happy. A little awkward, but still pretty comfy. However, it's kind of blocking this little computer art. So if we move him out of the way and move this little chair out of the way, you got this awesome little computer thing going on. And here is where the original microphone was on the vintage playset, which they removed on this version. But instead, you got this little scouting little wolf head thing that just watches things. And as we go down here, you got the little weapons rack, which has a green shield, which is a repack of Battle Armor Skeletor's shield, but green. Some kind of staff and a sword that just slides around. And once we remove this thing here, this little cage, this little jail cell, you got this whole sticker that's already applied once you take it out of the box. You don't have to apply it at all. You got this little dungeon area. And then once you go here, this gets really interesting. You got this whole little acid pit with these little monsters in it, and just so interesting. Got a little escape tunnel, which we'll get to in a little bit. And these things can come out, and you can take apart figures and you can put them on these little pegs, which we'll do a little bit. And here are the monsters. There's this one right here. And here's this little dragon-looking thing. And there you go. And here's how it looks when you take a figure apart and put it into these little acid pits. As a bonus, I put one of the monsters on He-Man's bottom half, and I think this looks awesome and hilarious, and this makes for some awesome toy photography if you're into that. And I think this adds so much play value, and it's just so awesome. One thing I forgot to mention, there's actually a giant removable spider up here, which you can take off. It's pretty well sculpted and detailed. And there's a little peg right there, which you can place the giant spider right over there. And there you go. And then the escape hole has these little rubbery vines here, but a figure can easily slide out of there. And the figure is now free from Snake Mountain. Back inside the mountain, there actually is this little lever here, and if you move it up and down, you can make the mountain talk. For one final play feature, if you remove the bridge here, kind of tricky to do, and it's a little bit scary, but the thing you can achieve, if you do that, you can actually close up the mountain. First, you gotta lift up this little area until it clicks, and then you close it. You got these little hooks on here, much like Castle Grayskull. Let me just show you. They have one up here. You just hook that up. Same thing goes around here. And now you got Snake Mountain in its compact mode. And there you go. And for one quick size comparison, here it is next to Castle Grayskull. And they have my review on the Origin Snake Mountain. I love this playset. It's so atmospheric and awesome, and as you can see, I have a bunch of figures set up on here. It's currently available on Amazon at the time of this recording, and I highly recommend picking it up while you have the chance, because the distribution on this line is very questionable and bizarre, but I just can't get enough of this toy line, and I just think it's so awesome. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the flip side.